हेलो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू जेनेसिस। आज एक नया चैप्टर स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं, सेंस ऑर्गन्स। वेल इन दिस चैप्टर वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न द एनाटॉमी एंड फंक्शनिंग ऑफ टू वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सेंस ऑर्गन्स ऑफ आवर बॉडी, ह्यूमन आई एंड ह्यूमन ईयर्स। जल्दी से समझते हैं व्हाट आर सेंस ऑर्गन्स। बचपन से वी हैव नोन दीज ऑर्गन्स दैट दे आर वेरी स्पेशल बिकॉज दे हेल्प यू टू परसीव चेंजेस दैट आर हैपनिंग इन योर एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट। लेकिन ऐसा होता क्या है इनके पास जो दूसरे ऑर्गन्स के पास नहीं होता है? दे हैव रिसेप्टर्स, दे हैव दोज स्पेशल स्ट्रक्चर्स इन देम व्हिच कैन इजीली कैच इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम द external environment and send it to your central nervous system. Well, आज जिस structure के बारे में हम लोग पढ़ने वाले हैं, that is eyes, and these eyes contain photoreceptors. Okay, they help you to perceive with the help of visual impulses. Okay, and they catch these visual impulses and send them to your central nervous system. So when we talk about a structure which is so important, the body definitely will have certain ways to protect it, and yes, it does. So these are the different protective structures that are just meant for your eyes. Number one, orbits. Your eyes are deep seated, they are inside orbits, or which are also known as sockets, and there is a reason why. That kind of gives it some protection. The second thing are the eyelids. You have upper and lower eyelids, and these eyelids are mainly to prevent excess of light from entering into your eyes. These eyelids go outward and produce structures which are called eyelashes, and the eyelashes perform the function of stopping any dust particle from entering these vulnerable soft structures of your body. Next are the lacrimal glands. These are located at the upper sideward portion of your eyelids. They are very important because they can produce tears. Now अगर ये tear produce करते हैं, ये कैसे हमारे लिए helpful है? क्योंकि हमें तो लगता है tear सिर्फ रोने के काम में आता है. You know, it is a method to express emotions. No, not really so. Tears are essential because they lubricate your eyes. Number one. Number two, they have the antiseptic property because इनके पास एक ऐसा enzyme होता है जिसे lysozymes कहते हैं, which can kill germs. Third, they also help to wash away dust particles which accidentally fall into your eyes. And finally, of course, tears are important because that is a medium to express emotions. अगर ये tear glands properly ना function करे, it's going to be very tough for you because आपके eyes हमेशा dry हो जाएंगे, itch करेगा, you'll not be able to protect your eyes from various viruses and bacteria which are there in the air. So, lacrimal gland बहुत important है because they are producing tear. Last is the conjunctiva. Conjunctiva is a layer which is present right above the surface of your eye, and this remains inwardly connected to the eyelids. ये conjunctiva by chance अगर is infected by virus, then we suffer from a problem which is known as conjunctivitis. हम सबको कभी ना कभी conjunctivitis हो जाता है, especially अगर आपके दोस्तों को ये हुआ है because it's highly contagious. So इसमें क्या होता है? Your eyes become red and you have severe problem in vision. So we discussed what are the various protective mechanisms that are there in your body to protect this important organ which is eyes. So orbits, eyelids, eyelashes, lacrimal gland and conjunctiva. Chalo, now let's go and understand the internal structure of human eye. Now let us understand the basic structure of the human eye. Human eye has total 3 layers, okay? And the outermost layer of the human eye is fibrous and is known as the sclerotic layer. When I say fibrous, I mean to say that it does not have any blood vessels in it. And this layer is of 2 parts. The part which is inside your eye, that white particular part is known as the sclera. It is opaque and it is white. But the same part when comes right in the middle of your eyes, it bulges out in the form of a transparent structure which is called cornea. This is one layer, but the layer exists in 2 different forms. The initial part is white and opaque and it is called sclera, and the part which is transparent is called cornea. The second layer of your eye is vascular. That means blood vessels are present in this layer, and this layer is known as UVA. In your book it is mentioned as the choroid layer, which is also correct. So the UVA is divided into 3 parts. The pigmented part is called choroid, which is colorful. That means it is pigmented. Second, it has ciliary bodies. These are certain structures which when I draw it will be clear for you. And third is the iris. Iris is that part of your eye which gives color to your eyeball. So when you say that so and so person has a blue eye color, that blue part is actually iris. And the innermost and the most sensitive layer of your eye is the retina. And why did I say this is the most sensitive layer? Because the photoreceptors are present in this layer of your eye. Now I'm going to draw and show these structures to you in details. Okay, now this is just eye, right? I've not tried to show you the different layers, but what I'm trying to show here is if you just look at somebody's eye, you should be able to mention some parts of it, okay? Like the white part, like I've already told you, that part is called the sclera. So you now know what is sclera. Second is the middle, which is your eyeball. Now in the eyeball itself, there is a part which is dark black, absolutely black, okay? This is known as the pupil of the eye. This is actually the window of the eye through which light enters. There is a very interesting thing that you can do is you can take a torch and try to focus the torch on your eyeball and look at yourself, be very close to a mirror and see what happens. You're going to see this pupil, it constantly flickers. That means the diameter of the pupil goes up and comes down and then it becomes steady. So that will help you to understand the function of this pupil. The function of the pupil is to adjust the quantity of the light which is entering into your eyeball. And the part which is outside the pupil, yet part of your eyeball, and this is the part which is colored, okay? It can be black, it can be brown, it can be blue, and this part is known as the iris of the eye. So I have not gone into the anatomy yet. What I am trying to say is just by looking at the eye, you should be able to know what is sclera, what is pupil, and what is iris. Okay, now this is the actual structure of the human eye. So already know that human eye has 3 layers. The outermost layer is fibrous but has no blood vessels. So that layer is made up of sclera and cornea. So here is the part sclera, which is white and opaque, and as it bulges outwards, it becomes transparent and forms the part cornea. The function of the cornea is it provides a refractive surface, and on top of that, it is also protective in layer. Next to this layer is the pigmented layer, which is vascular, and this layer is known as UVA. This is divided into 3 parts. The inner pigmented part is called choroid, and as it proceeds in front, very carefully see, it branches into 2 very important structures. The first structure is called the ciliary body, and the second structure is called iris. Now if you look at the ciliary body, you will see it gives out certain suspensory ligaments, and these ligaments are suspending a structure. What is that structure known as? That is the lens. The human lens is crystalline and transparent, and it is converging in nature. So if you are ever asked that which is that structure that holds lens in its position, then the ciliary body of the second layer, and this ciliary body is not directly connected to the lens. So the structure that is between the lens and ciliary body are the suspensory ligaments. What is the function of iris? Iris is the colored part of the eye. So if the color of the eyeball is brown, or it is black, or it is blue, it is because of the iris. But is it the only function that it performs? No. It performs a very important function, which is to regulate the aperture. What is the name of the aperture in our eye? It is pupil. It is the window through which light enters into our eye. Now this pupil or the window can be open, can be made wide, or it can also be constricted. How is this happening? The opening is surrounded by 2 different kinds of muscles of iris, circular muscles and radial muscles. So when the diameter of the eye has to be increased, then the radial muscles, they constrict and pull. And when the diameter has to be reduced, then circular muscles constrict. This is how the diameter of the pupil is increased or decreased by the iris. The innermost layer of the eye is the retina, and this retina is photosensitive. Why? Because it is made up of photosensitive neurons. There are 2 kinds of these cells that are present in the retina. They are rods and cones. The rod cells, they come into function when we see something in dim light or when there is scarcity of light. Now these cells are very helpful because even in very less light, they help you to observe things, but they do not help you to distinguish between colors. That is why at night when these cells are active, you cannot differentiate between colors. The other type of cells that are present, these are called cone cells. These cone cells help you to distinguish between colors, and they come into function when there is enough light. So without cone cells, you will never be able to distinguish different colors. Now these 2 cells are made up of 2 different kinds of pigments. Rod cells are made up of a pigment called rhodopsin, which is also known as visual purple. Cone cells are made up of iodopsin, also known as visual violet. Now, if you observe carefully, there is one part here which is mentioned as yellow spot. You know, this distribution of rod and cone cell is quite random in the retina. Rod cells are present throughout the retina but not cone cells. Cone cells are concentrated at one particular point, and this particular point is called the yellow spot. This is the brightest spot inside the eye. So if you want to see something very clearly, you have to make sure that the light should come here. That is why when you read, you constantly change your eyeball from one word to another so as to make sure that the light from that word after being reflected should enter your yellow spot. So this is the area which is also known as macula lutea, and the central part of this is called fovea centralis. So don't get scared with all these words. Yellow spot, fovea centralis, macula lutea, they almost mean the same. So this is the area of brightest vision. Similarly, there is also another part very lateral to this yellow spot which is known as the blind spot. This is the area which lacks rod cells, cone cells. So there are no photoreceptors here. Then why are we mentioning this? Because this is the part from where the nerve that comes out from your eye and goes to your central nervous system emerges, and the name of that nerve is optic nerve. You already know that these are the sensory nerves. Their function is to collect the stimulus and send it to the central nervous system. So we have discussed the three layers of the eye. We now know what is the function of iris, how is the lens made up of, what is the function of the pupil. Conjunctiva I have not mentioned, but we already know it is the outer protective layer. What are we left with? Two liquids which are present inside our eye. The first one is called aqueous humor, which is between the lens and the cornea. The first one is the aqueous humor, which is present right in front of the lens. Its main function is to protect the lens from any mechanical injury, and second, it acts like a refracting fluid. The second liquid is vitreous humor. The function of vitreous humor is to provide a shape to the eye, and second, it also nourishes the retina. So that is all about the structure of the human eye. I hope I could make it little lucid for you. But in the next class, we are going to discuss how these structures work together and help you to observe things. Till then, revise. Do not forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.